We're
Thank you, sir.
recording.
Thank you, sir. Hello and welcome to this week. And we've got a few bits on the agenda. So we've got the outstanding review actions from last week, review outstanding PRs, coming up with a distinctive name for the current CF on Kate's effort, and any other business. Has anyone got anything else to add at this point? No? Okay, cool. So if we have a look at the reviewing of action items from last week, it was on me to address the comments that were existing for the RFC for adding users to the Cloudfoundry GitHub org. I did manage to get that done, so that's all okay. David and Eric, how's the movement of the Credhub release going with legal fun and games?
I don't know, it's all on Chris right now.
Yeah, that's all LF legal. I haven't gotten a definitive no. I'm waiting on a definitive no, but not quite sure yet. I'll follow up on that, but LF legal is often pretty backed up these days.
Okay, cool.
Creating new foundations and all sorts of fun stuff. But I'll follow up with that this week for sure.
We're fully expecting it to be a no, and then we aren't willing to do the work to completely restructure the way that Credhub loads things and then build 2 BOSH releases out of it. So I think it's going to stay at Pivotal, open source. However, you never know. Maybe they'll be like, sure, throw it in there, it'll be fine.
Maybe there'll be a way. We'll see.
Okay. Cool. All right. I will grab an action for that for next week then. John's one of sending the communication to working group leads about time slots. That was done because I've definitely seen that one. And the last action from last week was for me to check YAML and machine for the machine parsable working groups with the accessibility team. I've put in a request for them, but they've not come back. So I've already added an action for me to chase them during this week. So I'll find out the definitive answer on that one. Okay, so in terms of outstanding PRs, let me just grab the chat. There we are, I'll paste that one. So the first one we've got, because it has some dependent PRs on it, is adding the RFC for the Cloudfoundry org membership in there. So I see that I've got 1 acceptance on there. If anyone else fancies having a look through and just seeing if there's anything that I've missed or typoed, that'd be brilliant. And then hopefully we can get that merged in pretty quickly, I think. Because then once that one's in, it then frees up for the update approvers list PR, which is here, and nothing too much to worry about there. It's just we need to make sure that we've got the first bit done before we can do the next bit. And then the final piece of that puzzle is merging in the no dry run and switch to GitHub App Auth so that it's all nice and automagic. So hopefully that should be a pretty easy run in for those few. Happy to deal with those async. So I think we should be fine with those without any problems. The machine parsable working groups, that one, the only thing that it's really waiting on for that one is the results of the accessibility side. And Chris, did you manage to find out what sort of accessibility we should be supporting?
No, I've not. But
okay.
I can certainly make that an action item for this week.
All right, I'll make a note for that one because it'd just be useful to know whether what WCAG we should probably be targeting on the grand scheme of things and trying to make sure that things are as accessible as possible. Right. I did some of my own testing in a fairly unscientific way with a screen reader plugin, and the markdown was fine and the YAML was not so great, but that's a very unscientific test as I'm no expert in this world.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we have David's baby here, the RFC for jammy jellyfish.
Yum. Sounds delicious. I just had some jam on English muffin earlier today,
Ooh.
but not on a jellyfish. So we are moving along with this PR, and we have gotten a little bit of feedback, and I do think that there's been no negative feedback about it. So I think this could conclude our. I technically cheated. And it's only a 6-day review process because I forgot to do it on Tuesday. But if you folks are okay with that, I think we would like to go ahead. People are working on this right now, so it's a bit awkward to have it not approved.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I say yay.
Yeah. I'm
All right.
fine
Well,
as
we
well.
have several approvals, and Ruben,
Mhm.
this is your area. Do you want to do the honors of potentially merging it, or if you don't have permission, let us know and we'll do it.
I have permission, but I mean, okay, yeah, I will do that.
Yeah, just don't forget to do the rename.
Yeah, wait
Yeah.
a minute. Oh no, never mind. We're screwed.
I think, since this is a community-wide thing, I think a TOC member should merge it, and then we'll have to do the rename process.
Mhm.
Great.
That's what
All
I-
right, we'll beta test that. I could beta test that later today.
That sounds good.
I'll
You know,
try to follow
I-
the instructions in the other RFC process. I'll let you know if I'm not smart enough.
Nah, don't worry. If you can't follow it, it's probably actually a problem with the author of the original RFC process. Okay, cool. And then there's a particularly interesting one to bring up, which is the draft proposal for the reference deployment working group.
Yeah,
Stephan, over to you on this one. I guess the first question is it still a draft?
It was still a draft because I was looking for some additional approvers, but I just see that there's a lot of activity on this PR. So I guess I can remove the draft label very soon after this meeting and bring it in as a full PR, amending the list. First of all, I want to take the chance to introduce Jochen to you, who we propose as a new workgroup lead. I invited him for this meeting today. And we also suggested a list of approvers, and after some external discussions, it looks like there's now much more interest in CF deployment, and we have even a company from Great Britain, Fidelity, who raised interest in participating here with
I can definitely say that Jim and Piotr from Fidelity are good people to have on board. They were originally part of the GovUK PAS team.
Okay, that's good news. Then I suggest that I add them immediately. I mean, hardly anybody but Dave will actually fulfill the formal requirements to become an approver. But yeah, in order to get this working group started, we could do it right away. And then I guess we will all learn a lot from Dave in the beginning and go from there.
We are allowed to bypass those requirements for the initial creation of the working group.
Yes.
So you're not out of compliance.
All good. Okay, I will put in all the input that is now available, and then I will remove the draft label, and I guess in the next TOC meeting we can then formally merge it in, or if we have enough +1 even before.
Okay.
All fine.
Cool. And that sums up the PRs that we have responsibility for at this point. So the next item we've got on the agenda is a distinctive name for current CF on Kate's effort.
Yeah, I added this agenda item. I think this has been kind of floating around for a while. And as we discuss having a more official initial beta release for the CF on Kate's effort, this would be a good opportunity to raise that both with the TOC and with the CF on Kate's working group. See if we can come up with something that's maybe a little snappier, more memorable, sounds a little bit more distinctive. It's harder to confuse with the CF for Kate's or even kubecf efforts from beforehand. So I know, Chris, you had started a doc kind of soliciting broad input. figured we could even like share that here if people want to use that to brainstorm ideas. We had shared that with a bunch of the folks that are working in that working group already, and there's definitely too many suggestions in there right now. But we want to kind of look at a broad pool and then try to winnow down to a few interesting ones over the next few weeks.
This is all brainstorming, completely unparsed, but yeah, I would say if it wasn't for the previously named CF4Kates project, this would be a nice thing to do. But given that name, this is pretty essential, I would say, just so there's not that constant confusion.
I think we've learned over the years that if there's a preposition in a phrase, someone will get it wrong or confuse it with a different one. So maybe best to avoid those two.
Instead of CF, we change the C to a K and it's KF. Whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, you can fight Google for that one.
Yeah, yeah, that's unfortunate that that's sort of taken.
Chris, should I dig up the link to that?
Oh, I dropped it in.
Oh, it's in the chat there.
But yes, we can add it to the.
Yeah, I'm just typing some words and adding it in. And how do you want to move forwards with narrowing down a name?
I think this is probably a discussion between both the TOC and the CF4Kates working group. So maybe between the two bodies, we can come to some reasonable consensus about at least a short list of names. Chris, I know you had even wanted to run it by the governing board as well later this month, if there's the opportunity.
Yeah, it's something I'll bring up with them. I don't know if they're the actual board members are going to specifically want to weigh on this, but yeah, I should want to chat with them about this. I mean, hopefully this is a major focus of the community for the next year beyond, and we are pushing this. So I think the name and the marketing, is pretty significant here.
Okay, any particular thoughts around timelines for this? I mean, because there is the impending beta, so I guess that's kind of a little bit of a time pressure.
Yeah, I would say we want to have, before we promote the beta, at the very least, we'd want to have the name set.
I think probably next couple of weeks, getting a good candidate finalized. I think Chris, you said that governing board meeting is in a 22nd or 23rd, something like that. So that's about 2 weeks out.
There's CF4Kates meeting after this call, and then in 2 weeks there's this governing board meeting, and the CF4Kates team is going to present at that. So it'd be nice to have a short list then at least.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, there are quite a few in there to go through. So. Yeah, well, it's just going to be an interesting one. My kind of gut feeling is that I think the working group should be the first to narrow down what they think and then present their suggestions back to us, because they may well have something that we haven't considered.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Are you happy to pass that on to them, Chris?
Yeah, we'll certainly bring it up in the call after this.
Perfect. All right. Cool. Has anyone got any other thoughts around the naming? Okay. So I guess then that moves us on to any other business for this week.
This is a good list, though, by the way. Thank you for coming up with this list. I was watching my kid fall out of his chair for a second. So I wasn't paying attention. How do you want to solicit input into what we like in this list?
Well, I was thinking with this one, it should be the working group first that then bring their selection to us.
Cool.
That was my thinking on that.
It makes sense. They own the area the most, so have to live with it more than anybody else.
Exactly. And potentially have to say it an awful lot more than everybody else. Okay.
To say it a lot, I think. Chris should have some input into this one.
The mythical hybrid creatures is a nice sort of like self-deprecating thing to it, right? Like part goat, part fish. It's like, kind of what's being attempted here. So, just like the ideas of that. I don't know about the actual specific which ones or whatnot, but I like the idea of that. Also, some of those are kind of known things that I don't think there are major cloud computing technologies named after. So, but yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, I mean, the only thing I can think of on the any other business side is feedback around the plan to hear from working groups. We've had some thumbs up in there and no particular comments at all. But I see that we have some people from some working groups here today. So are there any thoughts?
People that
Not
plan
any.
Okay.
Makes sense. Once every 8 weeks, that's fine. I'm not the first.
Yeah, the only thing I think one of the first I think is a medias group with some holidays or leave.
We got to shuffle it around, make sure that people that are actually here are going at the right times. So you might be first, Ruben.
Yeah. So do we think we'll be ready to start this next week?
Let's see, why not? As long as we can find the person who is available to do the first one.
Okay. So, are you good to dig that one up? To dig up the context on that one, David?
Sure. What do you mean, the context of like who should go first?
Well, we're going to go. So we've got an order. So it will be someone from App Runtime Interfaces first.
Got it. That would be like Greg, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I can ask Greg if he's available starting next week. Tell him he's got to do it every 8 weeks. Might as well get it done next week.
Well, it's a bit late for this week.
It is a little late. I call him and be like, hey, where were you? Get on this call right now. Tell us what is App Runtime Interfaces. Lee, does the proposal have an agenda for what we expect out of the working groups too? I think there was something there. Did I like miss you? Where is this proposal so that we can all open it for a second?
It's in Jam posted it in the TOC channel.
Got it. Okay, good point. Yep.
So
Runtime.
it's a case of we're just allocating some time there to hear from the working groups about what they've been up to, what challenges they've got, what support they need from us, where we need to go and push people to get things done.
Great.
Not formulated in terms of you will present a slide deck for 5 minutes and then answer questions.
Okay, I'll reply to this and ask Greg whether he thinks he could do next week to kick us off.
Perfect. Okay. Has anyone got anything else? There's normally something interesting going on.
I don't know, maybe we put all the other interesting things on the agenda.
Oh. Okay. Cool. Well, if there's nothing else, then I'll finish wrapping up the notes, and we'll look forward to next week where we can hear from the App Runtime Interfaces team. All right. Have a wonderful week, all. Take care.
Wow.
Thanks, everyone.
See you. Bye-bye.